let's do it. All
All
right.
right.
So we'll pull up this document here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So some of you, actually, I think everybody here should know, but this is going to be, I guess, the first episode of more of a sort of special guest, at least on my calls. Um, Robert is going to graciously walk us through a lot of stuff that he's been doing over the last few years. A lot of stuff I'm going to cover. I'm going to try to ask him a bunch of different questions. Robert, first of all, thank you for being willing to do this.
Sure.
I know your expertise and your experience. Um, it's not. I don't know what it's like. I don't know what would be the word for more than rare, but it's very rare.
It is
So I
rare.
think,
It is
yeah,
rare, but it also comes from just never giving up
yeah.
through
He
hell.
has a big
I'd be the first to tell you a lot of what I've done has been just pure hell and fighting through it. So we'll get to it, but go ahead, Taha.
let's try to get some of those lessons without the scars, shall we?
That's my goal for you guys. Yeah.
I didn't know it was a special episode.
Oh, it is. Very much is. The I've got your track record here. I see 7 companies, 3 exits, $200 million worth of value.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, so I've been an entrepreneur since 2001. I've built 7 companies. I've sold 3, 2 of which were in automation, kind of before AI really existed. We manually programmed and controlled buildings and homes and the like. And I built one of those companies to be top 100 in the industry, sold it in 2009. I am the guy that in 2005 I actually invented 4 different LED light bulbs: the LED T8, LED U-shaped T8, LED panel, and candelabra. I paid for the production. We invented them, had them manufactured, and I'm the one that brought LEDs literally to the United States because back in 2006 I used my automation company and the business owners that I was with then, they consulted me. One was the largest privately held oil company in the world, and he consulted me on business and helped me figure out manufacturing and the like. I built that company to 65 million, sold it in 2013. By the time I sold it, we had 500 distributors in 14 countries. And that one was the one that cost me most in my hair and my lifespan, I think. But because we just grew from 2009 when I sold my previous company and went full force, we grew to 65 million in about 4 years. With really, we did it pretty lean with about 50 to 60 employees, and then sold it in 2013. Since then, kind of did some consulting work. I've helped move several other manufacturers from overseas manufacturing to domestic manufacturing. But most notably, since 2020, I've taken 2 companies, one from nothing to 115 million in a year and a half, the other from 30 million to over 100 million within the first 7 months of me being there as the CEO. One of those companies, which is the one I'm most proud of, we fed 35,000 children 2 meals a day, 7 days a week at home during COVID. So that was kind of my COVID stint. Um, we helped feed a lot of children. That was another very high growth. We had 440 some odd employees throughout the time frame, and really had to figure out how to automate that, how to use what artificial intelligence existed in 2020, which was pretty minuscule. And then with the telecom construction company that I grew to 70 million, we actually did auto dispatch, AI, and stuff like that. So we'll go through that. But today, what I want to focus on is we did get some questions from the forum, so I'm going to answer those. I'm going to try and keep the first half to 30 minutes, and the second half we'll open up for questions. I'm a blank slate. I mean, an open book. I will tell you how much pain it costs to go through and build what I've built, and if for no other reason than to give you encouragement about the pain you're undergoing now. So go ahead, Taha.
Well, first I want to start by saying, how old are you?
I'm 47. I wish I was 37. I'm 47.
Well, you don't look it, but
Well, thanks.
the reason I ask that is because as I'm listening to it, it's kind of interesting that you say we're such a, I don't say monotone, but almost like a dismissive tone of, yeah, we did this, 100 million, 65 million.
Yeah.
But each of these things, like most people won't touch these numbers in their lifetime, let across multiple times in the span of maybe a few decades at most.
Right.
I'm super curious, just personally, like, how did this were you always into entrepreneurship? Is this something you were just born
Yeah.
with, just trying to solve problems, or was it something you learned along the way, or how did Robert become Robert?
So truthfully, I had an incredibly difficult childhood. I was a drug baby, almost died twice as a baby, and really grew up with parents that were stoned my whole life. So I was always very independent. I was learning how to cook at the age of 4 so I could feed myself, and then really in 15, I became a Christian, and since then my work ethic has continued to pick up, and I deviated from the path of my parents to a different path, which has led to more success. And you know, I've also was blessed with good intelligence, and I learned early on from working for other people that I found most of my bosses to be idiots, and I didn't like working for them. And I was a young arrogant fool at that point. I knew I was smarter than them at that point, but I didn't have really the wisdom that they had, and so I branched out on my own. Started my first company at 23 and grew it to be top 100 by 2009. And that company's still running. It's still running actually with some of the people I hired in the very beginning, which is the thing I'm most proud of, because the hardest thing to do is to get employee buy-in when you're building a company. It's to get their buy-in, and so it was. I'm most proud of the fact that a lot of the companies, the employees are still there, and that proves that you can have a successful exit and not worry about when you leave the company gets destroyed.
That's incredible. It really is. And I've got plenty more questions, but I know I want to respect the some of the questions that people actually did. Like, to your point, we
Mm-hmm.
had a like forum people put their questions. So I'll start with them. And if
Okay.
you have time at the end,
Yeah, I'll go quick through them because I do want to leave time for people to ask questions, because I think hitting your pain points where you are when you're in them is crucial. So,
sure. First question here that I see. This is from I'm going to butcher these names. Mirza. It says, "What are the most common mistakes you see when companies try to grow too quickly?"
uh, you grow too quickly without a process is really the worst thing that I've seen, because you can't replicate. If you Other thing that happens when you grow too quickly is you bring a lot of employees in, and this is pretty common in startups, where you bring a lot of employees in, they're wearing multiple hats because nothing's really written down, there's no formula, there's no process, and so they begin to feel ownership of that part of the business. Well, then when it comes time to grow the business to be sustaining, where you have to put processes in place, you have to put systems in place, because you may want to sell the company one day, or you may want to not be the company and be the only person that can run it. When you start putting those processes in place, those early employees tend to bail because they get offended that all of a sudden now you're making me do things you don't trust me. And it really has nothing to do with that. It has to do with expectations from has to do with bad expectations from the beginning. When you bring on a lot of employees, you don't set standards of what they're going to have to do. What I do now, and I've done in let's say my lighting company, was I had 10 guys that I mean, I was the owner, but I wound up giving equity to 10 different people that were my executive team. Very small equity, but from the beginning, I set the expectation, say, okay, and this is where I learned that people will just bail on you, is because I had some that had equity, some that didn't. The ones that didn't wound up stealing from me, wound up making me call the police on them, do all sorts of stuff, because they felt that I was screwing them, when in all reality, I was just trying to grow the company to be healthy and to be sustainable. And so what I do early on now is I tell people, say, okay, we are going to get to a point where I need you in a different position than the 10 that you're wearing, the 10 hats you're wearing right now. I need you to write down all the policies, procedures, and systems that you follow on your own, and you go through and write them down so that I can replace you. I say, because if I can't replace you, I can't promote you. And that has seen a big shift in the early adopters mindset, the early employees mindset of, okay, I want to be promoted, I want to do more things, I want to be responsible for different things in the future, so I have to be able to replicate and allow Robert or the company to replicate what I'm doing without my direct involvement. So, yeah, go
Sorry
ahead.
about that.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
The I was just having this conversation yesterday, because it's almost like people tend to go one extreme of the spectrum, right?
Hmm.
Where either you'll have people like, no, I'm going to do everything on my own. I'm going to have 100% equity. I'm never getting anybody a piece of this. Or I just had this conversation yesterday where somebody was like, well, I don't know how to build an end-to-end automation, so I'm going to bring in some developer from like Fiverr, Upwork. I'm going to give them equity in my company.
Hmm.
I'm like, you realize it's probably the most expensive contract you've ever had.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
So how do you balance that?
Um, Learn your own strengths and weaknesses, and I would go into equity slowly. Um, and I say that as like a 2 to 3 year time span to where you can write in their contract that provided everything goes well, they'll have, let's say you're giving up 5% of the company, and because you need their expertise, they've got a 12-month earn-in period where they have to earn their equity, and then it only vests at 1 to 1.5% year one. So they're not getting the full 5% year one. They get it vested fully in 3 years. Then they're full partners. What that does is gives you a cheaper buyout if they lose their mind, which I've had. It gives you a no buyout if they're not worth it within year one. There's no buyout because you don't have to buy back their equity, but it still gives them the promise of, it makes them stretch longer on doing a good job all the way through 3 years. And by that time, it's a habit, so it's pretty safe at that point. And that's pretty much the standard I do now. Back then, I didn't, and it cost me a lot of money because I just brought on equity partners too soon or made promises for things that I wound up just not being able to do because the business grew in a different direction than I thought. And unless you're inside my mind, you don't understand why we're directing the business that way. And I lost a lot of good people and a lot of close friends early on with that, particularly in LA LED. In Focus Foods, the food company, we immediately said, okay, we've got to respond to 35,000 children that need meals because they're all sent home and they're not getting food. So we ballooned up to 440 employees. I had per production line cooking, we had 88 people. By the time I implemented AI and automation, we brought we brought a 35% increase in efficiency by reducing it to 17 people per line. And so it was almost
That was 8 to 17?
88 to 17. And we had a 35% in efficiency, and that's from automation and robotics. And we did all that in a year and a half, but it allowed us to feed the children that were in need, and most of our employees wound up being delivery and ordering instead of manufacturing. So let's move on to the next question. I think I answered that one pretty well.
I see here, what's your approach to hiring and retaining top talent when transitioning from small team to maybe bigger teams or bigger organizations?
So I kind of touched on that in the beginning for hiring or retaining top talent, transitioning from a small team to a larger team. The small team that you start with, you've got to count in about 40%. If you do it right, 40%. If you do it wrong, 80% of those people will not be the long-term employees that you have. It's never proven out any different to me over multiple startups. It's always been that way. I got it from 80% turnover to 40%. But the reality is there's some people that are entrepreneurial by nature, and when you start implementing systems, they lose their freedom and they don't want to do it anymore. They just move on to the next entrepreneurial thing. You're not going to change that. That's the 40%. What you want is for the other 40%, you want them not to leave. And so I'm very clear in the beginning of people know where they stand with me. They know where their path forward is. I'm very clear from the beginning of, I say, look, I've got a couple of policies. One, if you cuss me out in public, you're fired on the spot. You can cuss me out behind closed doors, and I'm not going to mind because we've all got a vent. The other is I want you to have a direction going forward. If you're just happy being promoted within your own position and rocking up that salary, then great, let's do that. If you want to ever manage or lead or do something, then we need to start a training program for you right now. I'm going to get you books. I'm going to get you programs that you're going to start learning so that when it's time to promote you, you're ready. And I learned this when I was 20. I was a sales manager at Circuit City back in the day, and I saw great store managers who were top in the entire company become terrible district managers because they weren't ready for the promotion, and they got fired. So here we took the top talent from a segment of the company. They didn't train them and move them to district managers because that's what you're supposed to do in the corporate world. and they fired him within months. And so I took that to heart and said, okay, I've got to do a different path. So you never want to promote someone beyond their skill set or their capability. It's okay to have a conversation with them and say, look, in order to get to where you want to go, I want you to get there. So this is what I need you to learn. And then it's up to them to learn it. But at least you've given them a path forward. In doing that, I've seen that people tend to grow significantly fast and with a lot of buy-in in the company. They're not looking to grow to leave. They're looking to grow to stay, because you are feeding that ego, and not in a bad way, but you're feeding that desire in their heart that allows them to have success in their company. So right now, like, I'll just go through, when you get to 50 to 100 employees, it's a different animal. When you get to 400 employees, it's completely different. I would say let's stick to the 50 to 100. I think that's where probably some of the people on the call or listening can actually get to. It boils down to those early leaders, if you've trained them properly, become your department heads. And as they do wear multiple hats, you find where they're exceptional at and what they suck at. And I admit what I suck at, and I admit what I'm great at. And so I say, I need you in this position because you're exceptional there. I don't want you doing this other stuff. Let's let somebody else do it, because it's just not your strength. I don't believe in training our strengths to be mediocre. I believe in playing our weaknesses to be mediocre. I just have never found that to be why do you want to be mediocre in something? Let's focus on the 20% or the 80% that I'm great at. Let me do that, and I'll hire people around me to do the other 20% that I just struggle with. And in doing so, you build a great team. You build different personality traits and different opinions. In the boardroom, I allow people to have disagreements as long as they don't call people names. We don't make it personal, but we do say, I don't agree with that, and here's why. And what that does for me as the executive is it gives me the ability to say, okay, I like some of all of your ideas, and the compromise is this is the path forward. I've now had every department head's buy-in because they all voiced their opinion. They all told me what they thought. They knew that I listened, and they knew that I processed it to where when the direction came, they said, okay, I'll follow you in that direction. And that's huge. So early on, it's making sure you give people a path to success. Mid-cycle is 50 to 100 employees, making sure you have department heads. If you guys ever get over 100 employees, just DM me, and we'll talk about that later.
First of all, thanks for that.
Yeah.
You remind me of you said earlier somebody got promoted to, like, they were a regional manager, or then they got promoted to district manager.
Yeah.
And got fired. It reminds me of, I think, a typical salesperson cycle is the best salesperson becomes sort of the sales trainer. Even though, if you think about it, being great at sales and training somebody else to be great at sales are two completely
different jobs. But we have this mindset that you've always got to be promoted to a different position. And it's just false. And so I set that expectation, say, look, you are a great salesman. I will promote you within the salesperson. And if you desire to test the waters on other things, then let's train you there so that you can actually see if you really want to do it before I move you. And it gives them the ability to go, no, I'd rather stick in sales. Because after you move them and you replace them in their position, then it's too late. You're stuck with either bloating your overhead by hiring another person, or by having that new person and that person doing the same job because you don't want to lose them, or you lose the great talent that you had.
I love that. Let's see, what else do I got? Let's see a question here. It says, with your focus on voice AI, how do you recommend traditional businesses evaluate and implement these technologies without necessarily sort of spreading themselves too thin?
Yeah, so typically, I'm going to almost read this because this was something that I really wanted to do. First and foremost, AI should not be a tool to replace employees. That is the first thing I tell my direct clients is we're not here to replace your employees. What we're here to do is level up your employees and make them better. We want AI to do the 80% that's a distraction and a boring, tedious project and job for them. The 20%, let's let them become experts. Because then at that 20%, they're firing instead of instead of doing the mundane stuff 80% of the day and the stuff that makes money 20% of the day, they're doing the stuff that makes money 80% of the day and managing AI 20% of the day. So we flipped the script, and so like in one of the first automations I brought, it's another. I haven't gone through that. I don't want to go through that. Let's say in my first AI agency, which I actually just started last year, and within the first week, I got 3 monthly recurring revenue clients, projected $100,000 in monthly revenue, but I was automating on myself, sales, support, email, etc. The only way I could grow to handle that was to actually automate the business. Now, I built the business enough that I wound up merging with a company called Romulus, where we do voice AI for you guys. We do, and I'll get into that later. This isn't the point of the conversation, but that's what we do now. And so with this, I'm expecting this company to be my next $100 million company that we're working on. But most importantly, for introducing AI to other people, I got off on a tangent, but introducing AI to businesses, I say, look, we want to handle the 80%. You guys need to handle the 20% that is the fine tuning that brings in the most money. And so I start with, let's process your emails. Then once I've got their emails, then I can process their conversations. Once we've got their conversations, then I can process and bring in voice and bring in chat and really hone in and have a well-trained voice and chat system for them, because I've already captured the first two things. The other thing this does is it gives you a toehold in the beginning of something small, something not very much money, where you can say, look, let me just prove the concept to you. People are so ignorant about what AI can do that when you do something small that may be cheap to you, it's a $400 or $500, $1,000, that level of magic is huge to your client. So when you come back and say the next level is going to take $4,000 to $5,000, they're like, okay. And then when you do the $4,000 to $5,000 one well, and you say the next one's $20,000, they're like, well, that sucks, but okay, because you've gained that trust, and they become long-term clients of yours. And that's what we train on through my business now for our dealers is how to go through that process. So I know I skipped a lot of what's on our page, but I think that made the point.
But I think it's also one of the most important factors, because you could have had the exact same product, the one that's 20,000. If you had started with that, they never would have bought it. Not
Never.
Surprising. They just don't trust the fact that you're going to deliver on it.
Well, here's,
you said that
yeah.
pattern of being, if I give you something else, if I sell something for 400, but you get $4,000 worth of value, it's a 10x. So if you're not giving me an opportunity to spend even more money, well, normally if the pattern follows, I'm going to get, if I spend 20,000, I'm going to get $200,000 back. Who wouldn't spend, or who wouldn't, play that
Yeah.
machine?
Well, they don't believe you because nobody in their mind has experience with AI. There are very few people that have 5 years in AI. I mean, who does? It's maybe Mark, yeah, maybe Mark. And because AI just really wasn't worth much in 2020, so most people didn't adopt it. Most people were tinkering around with it, but not actually building it. So why would they trust your opinion on a $20,000 project? They just won't. And so don't go into it expecting that. Expect them to lowball you on the front one and take it on the chin. That's what you do to prove your concept. And once you've proven that concept, then you strike immediately. And I actually put this later in the script, but once you get that little job, you don't wait 2 weeks to say you're ready for your next one. You do it. I delivered this. Here's the magic. Here's your next project you need to do. And I say that because the magic diminishes over time, because it becomes normal. And so you don't want to wait until your next sale for it to be normal. You want to do your next sale while they're like, oh my gosh, this is going to revolutionize my business. You've done a great job. Let me go. Absolutely, let's do the next step. And you do that as far as you can. And each time you do it with a new client, you increase your price 15, 20% until you reach the equilibrium where you know you're probably at the max you're going to get based on your deliverabilities. But that's how you go through building this to be 50 to 100,000 per month or more.
Yeah. It's almost like there's there's like a chart of excitement, right?
Yeah.
Where the human like you'll get used to exciting things pretty quickly. So the best way to sell something is the most excited. If I go, bungee, if I were to go bungee jumping right now, I would be out of my mind. But if I
Yeah.
did it every week, I get pretty bored of it regardless because I've adapted to it. It's normal.
Exactly. And you want to hit it when it's not normal. You want to hit it once you've impressed them on something little. Like I usually start, let me automate your email. And it's a repeatable process. We just flag the email, label it. As a matter of fact, you can use Fixer now, FYXER, to do automatic flagging of Gmail and Outlook. It's like $40 a month. Charge them $200 for implementation, takes you all of 10 minutes, but it's something that does amazing work for them. They're like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's auto drafting responses. It's learning my voice, that sort of thing. And so you can move on.
What was it called?
Fixer, FYXER. I use that for all my email. And it'll also attend their meetings and draft transcripts, much like Fireflies and the like, but Fixer does email as well.
Oh, super cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Cool. All right, what do we got here? Let's see. So now, this is going to be obviously, I think this is actually an important topic, especially if you are looking, if this is the game of entrepreneurship is the one you're playing, and for a lot of people, the end goal is to exit. You've done it obviously a couple of times now.
Mm-hmm.
What's the advice that you give somebody who's preparing to sell their business? Even maybe they haven't thought about it, but what would that preparation look like, even if the sale is a few years away?
So the beautiful thing is with AI, you can get this done relatively easily. You have to have systems and processes in place. If you cannot leave your business, let's say for 30 days at a time, you don't have a business. You are the business. And that is, people cannot buy you. It's not slavery. It feels like it sometimes, but it's not. What they're buying is a business that is fully operational and can do without your presence, because the goal in any acquisition is for you to eventually leave. So if you can't leave, then they've just invested in you. They've not bought your company. So I always spend, like everything we're doing, again, even at Romulus right now, I am writing down all our processes, all our systems, all of the things that we need to do so that in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, if we've grown to the level that I think, we'll have a very successful exit. But it's because I've tracked everything now. Well, now you can have AI track your conversations. You can automatically upload it into Claude, which is my preferred, but you can upload it into those and say, give me a process for this aspect of the business based on my conversations. I record every conversation. And I do that so that when we come up with ideas and new things and systems, I don't have to go and go, okay, what did I do? And in my downtime, figure out how to write it down. But the most important thing is create systems, create processes, and have people follow them when they're successful. Analyze those systems and processes at least 2 to 3 times, once to twice a month. Analyze those processes of, can we make this better? Is this successful enough? Are we seeing the results we want on this? What happens if we tweak this little bit? The more consistent you get, you're going to have more consistent growth. And most importantly, you'll quit having that sine wave of a startup business. A startup business, you sell, then you have to do the work. Then you sell, which this is your money, by the way. So you sell, you collect a lot of money. Then you do the work. It dips down here because you burn all your cash while you're doing the work. Then you have to turn around and sell again. The more you automate, the more you get that line to go in a diagonal direction, which is what you want to do, because you're not having to rethink of your process every time you go to do it. Do things that are going to be repeatable. You have to do things that are going to be repeatable. Do not try and invent the wheel every time. My rule of thumb with my executives is I tell them, look, I understand we will not make money the first time we do something. And I make that blanket statement every time, is I know no matter what it is, no matter how great the idea is, the first time we do it, we're going to suck at it and we're going to learn what we didn't know. So accept that early, but write it down and do the process and bring your revenue to a diagonal time frame from just the sine wave of doing and selling.
So, if I got you right, there's obviously a lot of information there, but it sounds like the main sort of core takeaway from this is you have to almost keep this mental reminder that you have to work thinking that eventually I won't be here. So,
yeah.
What would I want to be written down? What are the things I would want to see if I wasn't here? If that was on the next 30 days, what information would need to be available for the people who do work here so that the company could continue operating?
Absolutely, and that has to be a mindset throughout your entire employee base. Now, the employees are not going to get the cash out you're going to get when you sell, but what I tell them is in order for you to be promoted, I need you to replace yourself. I need you to be replaceable. So write down all the stuff that you do well. Let's build a process with HR. If you don't have HR, then do it with me. Write down the process. Let's develop it so that when it's time, when you've reached your fulfillment of your training for your next level, you're ready to hand off, and I don't have to wait 5 months while you train somebody. We can jump you right away, give a 2-week handoff. They can read the processes, which now with AI can coach them on those processes. All you got to do is create a custom project for that position now with all the processes in place, and that person can almost self-learn. So that handoff period is much faster than it was even 10 years ago for me, where you had a 2 to 4 week handoff period. It's now within 2 weeks, the person can be pretty well self-sufficient.
I like that. I got a lot. And by the way, when we're saying like a lot of stuff at least that we do with PA is just video. Like we'll make loops. If I'm doing something on a recurring basis, I will just record myself. I don't know. Let's say I know I have to do like an expense report for some reason. I will just record myself doing it. I was going to do it anyways, and all I do is I just talk as I'm doing the action. Why did I click this? Why did I do that? Etc. And that could be your process. It doesn't have to. You don't have to dedicate
Absolutely
like a certain amount of time to. I gotta write a bunch of SOPs.
No, write them as you go. Like say, hey, this really worked. Make a voice note. Make a like you said, record your loom, figuring out a problem and what worked and what didn't. Then put it into AI and say what worked. Give me a summary, and you save that in your files. So yeah.
All right. Now let's see. There's a follow up here which says Mirza asked, or he mentioned that. Yeah, I'll just quote him. It says, "What scares me the most is making wrong strategic decisions during growth, knowing when to pivot, when to double down, or when to walk away from opportunities."
Yeah, that the walking away from opportunities comes over time of going. There's usually still a little voice in you that says, I probably shouldn't work with this customer. And a lot of times the only reason you work with that customer is because you feel like you need and have to have their money. That desperation often costs you money. And still I deal with that today as well, because even early on for Romulus, I was like, I really need some proof. So do I need to tolerate this person? And, but knowing when to walk away, the pivot, like I sold, from 2013 to 2021, I was partnered with one of my partners in China who manufactured hybrid LED stadium lights. We did Tennessee Volunteers Stadium, Yankee Stadium, a couple of other stadiums around the country. And when COVID hit, we quit. It took us from 45 days to import to 6 months. That is a significant decrease in sales because everybody was importing PPE. That took up all the boats. Granted, I was importing PPE and selling it to the state as well, so I had some other revenue, but at that point I resigned and said, look, I just don't think it's going to be viable for the foreseeable future to continue to put this effort. That's when we started the food company, and I helped grow that. So doubling down, let's see. My example, I guess, would be at the lighting company, my LED, going into 14 countries, is I had a system in the U.S. that was workable and repeatable, and I wanted to see if we can expand to 14 countries. Now, keep in mind, each country it can be dangerous to go into other countries because it cost me $400,000 per country to learn how to do business in those countries. But there's always an expense to a new avenue, a new outlet. So doubling down is good if you have the cash to do it. I think we skipped a part, but early on, cash is king for growth. And so my rule of thumb with a startup is I do this. I keep it bootstrapped and tight as possible throughout until I have 6 months of me and the employees I want salary saved with no sales. If you have 6 months with no sales, then it's time to pivot away from what you're doing because you obviously are not good at it, just so you know. But what I do is I save 6 months of cash. That becomes my zero balance in my bank account. Then I start the growth. But I start the growth in a sustainable fashion to where if I hit that $0, I know I've exceeded my growth curve and my sales, so I back off a little bit. And sometimes you can't because you've hired a valuable employee and you just have to press through it. But at least you've got that cushion saved. And so then I build over the first year, I build a year's worth of salaries basically saved in as cash. And then year two is typically when I do heavy growth because I then am making good money, making good profit, have good cash flow, good revenue. I've figured out where our niche is. I'm able to niche out at that point and focus highly on what we want to do. What's bringing us the most money, and then I do the growth. If ever I dip back into that 12 months, it immediately sparks emergency mode for me and my employees, where we go, okay, what's going on that we've exceeded our monthly income? And that I find is very important especially in a startup, again, because you've got this sine wave. You don't know what your seasonality is going to be. Like a lot of the people on the call and elsewhere don't know whether we're going to have a good Christmas season for AI sales or if people are going to back off for Christmas. Taha and Mark might, but for a lot of us on the call, this might be your first time through it, so you don't know when the season is. So you need to plan for the unforeseen. And that's why I save as much in the beginning as I can. And then typically after the first year, I'll start to invest in growth.
That's interesting. I wonder if you have a filter for like, because the thing is, I think as you grow, the opportunities that you have to say no to
Mm-hmm.
get more and more attractive, right? Like if you're at zero, then every opportunity or everything seems like an opportunity.
Right.
But when you get to your $1,000 or let's go to 10,000, then this $5,000 opportunity comes around. Now you could stay focused and build and bet on yourself. So then 6 months you might be at 100,000. But there's always these opportunities that come through the side, and I think as you grow, the opportunities only get more and more attractive. So I wonder if you have a filter where on how you assess different opportunities, and this could come in the form of jobs, people you don't tolerate, or with employees who maybe are a bit too expensive and would actually make you dip into that emergency funding you mentioned.
So the emergency funding is there as a tactical tool and an emergency failover so that you don't lose the employees you already have when you have a down season. Because down seasons will happen. I mean, 2020 was a perfect case example for most businesses of they found out whether they had cash reserves or not. And so I just planned for the down season because I've been through this enough to know that every business is going to have them. As long as I have my top executives or my top employees buy-in for making a risk, and we all think it's a good risk, then we'll go for it. And we know up front that we may lose 25% of our cash if we do it wrong. If we find an employee that's so valuable that I need to dip into my cash reserves to do that, but this is once in a lifetime a unicorn employee, then we'll do that. But a lot of times the offers that come as you grow your business, when you start to niche down, which is when you start becoming the most profitable, because you're repeating what you're doing over and over again, that is the most important thing, is repetition is the profit. New things and creativity kills profit until it's repetitive. So repeat as much as you can. So we niche down where distractions come, and I call them distractions in business, is, well, can you do this too? Well, sure, I can do that, but should I do that? And so those often become the wrong outlet and just say, look, that's just not in our wheelhouse. Like at Romulus, we are voice and chat only. We don't do anything else. And there's tons of opportunities to do other things, but I've got 14 developers working for me that all do AI, that we can do just about anything we want. We are not going to do that because it takes us out of our repeatability. We can't A, make it affordable, and B, make it quick to where we can turn over, like our voice systems, we can turn over. I did 3 demos yet. I built 3 different demo systems with our system yesterday that are already production ready and ready to go. And so that took me an hour and a half each one because we're repeatable. And so I think for you guys in AI is figure out what you enjoy doing, what's easy for you. If it's a drag on your personality, if it's a drag to you to do that, you probably shouldn't be doing it because you're always going to drag your feet. You'll always be slow. Everything will always look more attractive. So find out which aspect of this you really enjoy and focus on that. And then my biggest advice to all of us is there are thousands of AI agencies I would find ones that focus on things that you're not, and you guys go together on projects. I think teamwork in this category, because I saw it in the automation company. We had tens of thousands of automation guys, which were techie guys that knew how to plug stuff in and make stuff work. They were terrible at business. They were terrible at customer service, a lot of them. And what I started doing was making strategic partnerships where I said, look, you're really good at commercial access control. You're really good at fire. I'm really good at the automating of everything. I need you guys to do the access control. I need you guys to do the fire. I'll do the automating, and we'll go in and get bigger projects together. And that brought my average sale up to $500,000 to $1 million per automation project, because yes, I could do everything, but I didn't focus on it. I think the opportunity that's being missed in this industry is everybody's trying to start their own pillar. And I think that's a mistake. I think we need to look at each other and really build within the community and say, what can we do together? I would love to see people in the community saying, look, I love doing voice. I love doing chat. That's mine. I love others. I love doing the business aspect. I love doing RAG agents. I love doing XYZ. And you guys start to team up. You're going to see, one, your believability is going to go up. People are going to trust you more because you say, I've got a team now. It's not just me. That team is huge. You're going to see your cost per ticket item go up, which means your profit's going to go up. And then you still have something that you're doing your repeatable portion while relying on others to do their repeatable portion. Your speed of delivery goes exponentially faster, where you might only be able to handle 5 projects a month. With a team or a group of AI guys, you might be able to handle 15 to 20 projects a month. So let's say you add 2 teams, but you're quadrupling or quintupling your throughput. That's more money for you. And then at that point, once you get to a point where you're all successful together, then you talk about, do we want to go in as one business and do this together? I see, because of the quantity of AI agencies within the next 2 to 3 years, my prediction in this industry is it's going to be highly consolidated. So I think we need to accept that fact and go, okay, who's going to consolidate with me? Because I want to be one of the ones that survives consolidation. I don't want to be one of the ones that are stuck on my island because of my pride or my ego. I want to be one of the ones that goes, I'm with all of these people, and this is our new island, and it's the size of Greenland. You know, let's do something together like that.
I like that. Like the visual that it gives me is, would you rather have a tiny pie all to yourself, or a gigantic like pizza, but you get a big slice, right?
Yeah.
The only difference is that sure you have to share it, but your share of it is bigger than the totality of your previous business. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I partnered with Marcus. I knew, hey, I could do it on my own, but I believe that overall, partnering with somebody would give me the ultimate value of my business would be higher, even if I had to split it.
Absolutely.
And now, before we run out of time,
I was going to say, go ahead, Tom.
I didn't question the Q&A, but I got one last question for you, which is, I think a lot of people, I know, the hardest sale is always the first one. 0 to 1.
It's brutal, because it's like there's a thing in creationism versus atheism where atheism believes X creates X, and creationism believes X creates Y. So you're almost in between those two as a startup going, nothing has to create something. And that's incredibly difficult. And it's the most intimidating thing. But I do want to touch on this, and then we can go to Q&As. This is really important for you guys. My rule of thumb with any new venture is I go through and get rejected as fast as possible, because those rejections teach me how to overcome. I don't run from rejection. I'm not scared of it. It still sucks. But like, I would recommend anybody that's never sold before, go sell for a call agency where you're just making phone calls all day. Even if you do it for 3 hours a day, your level of ability to overcome an objection will skyrocket, and you're going to see your sales increase. So what I do is I do want you to start with, how do you go from 0 to 1? 0 to 1 is your friends, your family, your contacts in your phone, your contacts on Instagram, your contacts on Facebook, and your contacts on LinkedIn. And you don't ask them for work. You say, I want a referral. You know me, we've worked together, we've done things together, we're relatives. I need a referral. Can you refer me to somebody? That's how you get your first work. I built Romulus to several $100,000 off of referrals from my network for car dealerships and the like, where we're doing voice for car dealerships for multiple other companies. And it all, the majority of that started with my network and what I built. Even if you think your network's not great, they still know people. And so encourage you to do that. Go ahead, Taha, let's move on. I just want to get that out.
No, I love that. I think that's a super important point. And I think I heard this quote the other day, which says, everything you want is on this other side of cringe. That's literally the one thing. It's cringy to talk on the phone and get rejected.
It sucks.
To reach out to a friend. But everything you want, I promise you, is the other side of cringe.
Yep.
I proved it the other day where I spent an hour cold calling. I got it all on video, and the last call that I made was the one that actually got me a meeting for the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But like 10 times in a row, that could have been 10 clients right there. But that's all it took. It was 29 or 30 calls for that one person to say yes. That's all it took. It's one hour of calls. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. Now, I think I went through most of the questions I wanted to ask. No, I got a few more here. Actually, this is a good one. I like the a lot of people have this bad sort of connotation for networking.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, as somebody who I assume a lot of people try to network too, right? Which just trying to get information out of you, or get a favor, whatever. What do you think about networking just in general?
So
I see here forums, in-person events, strategies, pitfalls to avoid, etc.
Yeah, I'll give you a real life example. My goal in all of this and talking to you guys is to build Romulus.live. I purposely am saying, okay, part of our dealer system and what I'm doing with Mark and with Taha is I'll leave Romulus at 5% of the conversation and leave 95% of it as help and advice for you guys. So networking is vital because you want to become an expert in some field somewhere in some niche. So I go to different men's groups that meet and talk about business to help each other throughout the week. At 6 a.m., I go to different events in the evening for networking. And I do it for two reasons. One is the more I hear where people don't like my ideas, the more I can tweak it. So the next time I get better and better and better until eventually everybody wants what I have. And like my closing rate on average is 85% after the first year. And that's just on average. If I know that if I can talk to somebody, I know right now if I can talk to you one-on-one, you're going to want to buy what I have. And it's because I purposely in the beginning get as many rejections as possible. I network as much as possible. I practice on my friends, on my relatives, on everybody, because they're going to give me feedback of like, dude, that sucked. I don't believe you there when you say that. And that networking is crucial. Yeah.
A lot of people, I think it's, once again, you can't be on either side of the extreme, which is, if you network, like if all you did, Robert, was just run, then people they wouldn't buy it just for the principle. To be the best product ever, but out of principle, people don't like getting sort of ideas.
They don't like being sold, but they do like being educated.
But on the other side of it, I think a lot of people, they actually go way on the opposite, which was they will have a solution to a problem, but never bring it up because it's their own. Because for some, how would you say it? Like they have this preconceived notion that selling in and of itself is evil or is better. You shouldn't do it for yourself.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing. For those that are new in all of this, you're like, well, I don't have your background, your expertise. How do I be an expert? To be an expert to somebody, you only have to know more about them in one topic than they know. That's it. You only have to know more than the person you're talking to. So there is no, if you're already in this community and you're already watching YouTube videos and trying this on your own, you probably know 80% more than average person you're going to talk to. So you can set yourself up as an expert. And the good news is you've got 1,000 people in the back that can answer your questions on the community forum. So take the chance and go for the sale simply because, I mean, you've got support, you've got help, you've got people that are going to reach out, you have people you can get advice from. And you're only going to know if you can really do it if you try it. It's better to get paid to try it than it is to just sit there and hem and haw and go, I don't know if I can.
You know, one thing that it reminds me of, when I was doing my first try to get clients, when things got hard, I would think to myself, I am in the worst case scenario right now because I'm going to call this person.
Mm-hmm.
The worst case scenario is I'm not going to get them. Well, guess what? I already don't have them. So I am already in the worst case scenario. I think a lot of sales opportunities are purely upsides. There is literally zero downside. If I were to ask them, hey, do you want to buy this? The worst thing that they can say is this, or the worst situation I could get in is the situation I'm already in.
Mm-hmm.
I already don't climb. I have literally nothing to lose except
Yeah.
for a little bit of ego or whatever mental barrier I've got about that. But that's literally it.
Yeah, well, ego is the most dangerous thing because then it makes yourself and your ideas, an island that nobody can participate in, and you're going to miss out on what will really get you to 100 million, or even in your case, a lot of your targets might be 3 to 5 million. What's going to get you there is really, it's going to be teamwork. It's going to be leaning on each other. It's going to be a lot of pain, and I don't want to sugarcoat that. There is a lot of pain in my life, which is why I can talk about growing to 100 million twice, as monotone as I am, and not be excited about it or egotistical about it, because it hurt. I learned I learned the hard way that I brought friends into my business, the first one that did 65 million, and I lost them all. I lost relatives because I messed up and did things the wrong way. So if I can offer that as benefit to you guys, then hey, I'm more than happy to do it. But for me, I'm never satisfied with where I get. That's just my personality. I always want to improve. So I celebrate a win like for 35 seconds, and then I'm like, okay, now what can we do next? That's just my personality. I don't expect all you guys to have that. By all means, if you have it in you to celebrate a win these days, then celebrate it. I mean, I've just, yeah. Anyway, other way I say it will sound egotistical. So let's just move on.
I like that. And just to close the loop on that thought, I also believe that excitement comes from the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time that you get, like, I remember there was a time period where I thought having $1 billion company would be the craziest thing. But by the time you get there, I really do believe that you've gone through so much.
Yeah.
They're like, this is not surprise. I earned this. This is
absolutely
after everything that I've done to get here. So there's not much to be excited about because you've earned it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to give my 5% plug if it's all right for you, Taha. Okay. So what we've done is I've taken my expertise in automation with Romulus, and I found the pain levels in AI agencies that we go through because I was doing it myself. The worst part I had in automation was the be-backs and the callbacks. When a client wanted to update something, or when they wanted to change something, or something needed to be updated because of firmware. It was $150, $200 service call. I don't make money on that. The client's not happy about paying for it, and nobody enjoys that experience. So what we did was we took, with voice and AI systems, literally they're deployable, the voice and AI side, within 45 minutes to an hour and a half, to be fully functional, tied into a CRM. You're just left programming the CRM, but we built a system designed for you guys to resell, where your clients can actually log in and update their knowledge base. We have a section for unanswered questions. When the AI doesn't know something, when they log in, they can look at that unanswered questions section and answer and update the AI so that the AI doesn't hallucinate. We do this typically for dealers. You guys get once a week as a group with me for an hour. It's something that I provide, and it doesn't have to talk about voice. It can be, it's in our interest that you guys succeed at business. So basically, if you want this for an hour each week, that's part of our dealership group, is you guys just to get to participate with me in that. Plus you have direct access to me. There is a cost involved, but we're going to do the first month free for Mark's group. But we allow you to deploy voice systems instantly. As a matter of fact, I've got one, let me see. I have, right now, we do HVAC, plumbing, roofing, restaurants, real estate, and car dealerships are all demos that you get for free. And any demo we co-build with a dealer gets put in the pot for what you guys can get for free. So these are fully functional, like emergency routing, call routing, exporting to a CRM or Google demos where you can show them, update your calendar live. All that sort of stuff is we just give those demos for free, and these are also ones you can build on for programming later on. But anyway, that's my 5% pitch. Send me a DM. I'm happy to talk to you more about it and show you the back end. But I see we're close to an hour, Taha. So is there anything else you wanted to address?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, if I'm talking about Romulus and somebody else, what's the elevator pitch I should do?
For somebody else being a client or a dealer?
No, like somebody else, like let's say a friend that they want to start an AI agency, etc. Like,
Okay.
right now, the way I'm interpreting it is essentially it's a voice building platform, but I want to make sure that I'm presenting that information correctly.
Gotcha. So with Romulus, and this is good because I'm practicing the dealer side because we just realized we figured out we were good enough to do this. So we provide support of live developer support. I've got 13 to 14 guys that can get on the call live. Appy Retail, 11 Labs don't offer live support. We build your first demos with you. You'll actually build them with me. Then the deployment goes from having 4,000 widgets you need to remember. We have two sections. We have one section in our Romulus where we control the flow of the conversation and all the hooks and connections, and you guys get access to basically just modifying the prompt. It's really hard to screw up the AI system, and we tie into your CRM for you. We tie into whatever you want for you. We're deep integration with Go High Level. We're deep integration with Google, where the recall is instant. We keep, instead of having to go out to N8N, 85% of what we do, you don't have to leave Romulus. It's all built in, and it's built in simply by just uploading files for your knowledge base. It's an auto RAG. So when you upload a knowledge base, it trains the AI. You're good to go. So elevator pitch would be we're the simplest to use, we're the simplest to deploy. We have all the features of all the others. As a matter of fact, we're agnostic to voice. You can use anybody's voice that you want, but we give you a box that controls everything instead of you trying to figure out all the different details of how to program something. We're built for people that aren't experts in VAPI, that just want to deploy a voice system, and they do the work on the programming of the CRM and the automations in the CRM. So we're speed to deployment with a simple path forward, and higher customer satisfaction because they can update it themselves without calling you every time, which is vital for customer satisfaction.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like instead of me having to put N for this, and then Zappy for that, and then 11 Labs for this, and then whatever Pinecone I'm using, it's a one-stop shop.
It is a one-stop shop. It's all native, which means that we're not doing external calls. Anybody that's built a system with Vappy Retail, 11 Labs, when you leave their native system, it's a 5 to 30 second delay, and we don't have that delay on 85 to 90% of what we need to look up, from calendar lookup, making reservations, changing reservations, emergency calls. It's all instant.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that,
Yeah.
Robert. I see one question here from Alexandra. If you got a few more minutes, Robert.
Yeah.
It's asking about teaming up with business people when you're technical yourself. How do you find those people? How do you approach them? And let me know if I got your question wrong, Alexandra.
What about?
The thing is, I'm technical, and in the beginning, I find people that wanted to send me client, but it didn't work. So I had to learn everything: the marketing, the sales. I have a YouTube channel since 1 year. But yesterday, I wake up saying, "Wow, I passed 90% of my time not doing what I love, which is building, and I want to create small SaaS applications. This is what I want to do. I'm a creative. I'm an entrepreneur, but sales and marketing is not what I love." And I'm forced to do that, and I'm close to burnout because I have no weekends, because I have to make all this fun. As products, building is what comes last. You have first to do the marketing, do the sale, and yes, I'm in this situation. Soon I will be able to hire, but not immediately. And I have a team. I have another developer. We can handle anything, but most of people that say that want to work with me, at the end, they don't do the job, they don't bring the things, so I have learned to do everything by myself. So, but I want this to change.
So, coming from this community, finding business people, I think, would be a little bit of a challenge. There are some Skool communities that are business-based. that you can look at?
I was with Taha in Lion Motley community, and many people say, "Oh, I'm going to do that, etc." And after months, nothing was happening.
Yeah.
And then I went on YouTube, etc. Because if not, I was losing time
Hmm.
and not making money. So
So you may be
some
prompting
people
me
are
because
also
it may be a conversation for me because this is in my hunt for building Romulus. I've out of the blue been invited to be on like 5 podcasts and 1 book interview over the last week and a half, which is just crazy because I've never sought fame or recognition. But I think, Alexandra, send me a digital a direct message and let's talk. I'll see if I can't help you in the interim. But
Thank
I
you.
may start some sort of group, whether it's YouTube videos or whatnot, that coaches people on business because uh, I am so familiar with the heartache of what you guys are going through because I started as a technical person, then had to learn business, and that is
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's so expensive because you lose a lot of money in the process because of things that you don't know. So maybe we do this. We'll just you guys can message me for now on business stuff. I'll make sure I answer it. If it grows to a point, then maybe Mark and Taha and I will talk about having just a weekly call or something where we can help. But that, you know, it's just an idea. I'm not by any means saying y'all need to do that, Taha. Um, but I'm more than happy to help individually, and I can't really point you in a direction, but I can make some phone calls for some people that might be interested in looking for an AI technical person that can partner with them, and they do the sales. Um,
And I have a team. I have a partner. It's 20 years of machine
Perfect.
learning. We have everything. But yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
No
I
problem.
know your question, Alexandra, I don't think is I won't say unique, but I think it is a big struggle where the business side of things. I think this is good. I'm sure actually to your point, Robert. Because from my perspective, I'm actually the opposite. I'm the one who's
Yeah.
from the background. I'm the one with the business expertise, and now I'm just applying AI to it, right? Like for me, AI is just a vehicle to grow my business, but
Hmm.
it just happens to seem to be the best vehicle for my goals. So I'm very much on the other side of the spectrum than you guys are, or that you specifically, Alexandra, are. So my advice, honestly, is join more of my calls because like this will have an entire hour. I can talk about 100 different ways to find business people to sell your products for you,
Mhm.
from appointment setters to setting up your cold email system, so that a you don't become what's the word I'm looking for when you are
A
stuck.
commodity.
No, not a commodity. It cannot be crushed because of one individual.
Hmm.
This seems the biggest problem in your business, which means you as a business owner, it is your job to take a look at what is stopping our business growth, and whatever that thing is, that's your job to fix. And right now, that's sales. So building is cool, but that's not going to grow your business.
And I'm happy because I have learned a lot this year. As questions that 10 years have passed, I've learned so much. But yes was yesterday. I woke up. My God, I want to build products. I want to build microsites. This is my dream. And I have no time. I didn't have weekend. I don't have even passing my weekend on that would be great.
Join my call on Friday. We'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
Alexandra,
so
I'm glad
much.
you brought that up because I'm in the exact same boat. I'm an experienced software engineer and innate and developer, and like I'm just starting to get into like, okay, how do I sale? How do I make sales? What's inbound versus outbound, and like where should I focus? Things like that. So this is very helpful
Oh,
for me
now I
as
know
well.
that. And I'm lucky because I'm an extrovert. I'm a speaker. I'm a networker. So I
Yeah.
have almost that. But also, most of the programs that I have joined online, they turn the thing more for business people saying, oh, there is no code, it's easy, etc. But assume that you have a business background, that you have a work network, etc. And I have made my school now in this opposite side because I have learned a lot this year. But okay, what I love to do, what is my genius is not that. So that's the thing.
Before we jump off, I saw Daniel. I saw your hand go up. Did you want to jump in? You're
Uh,
muted, Mark. You
you're
are
muted, Daniel.
there. I think you're
Can you
good
hear
now.
me okay?
Yep, I
Thank
got
you
it.
so much. I accidentally ran into this call. I have no clue who you are, but everything you say resonates 1000% with me. Also, techie who is trying to break through AI agency, but like unlike the other techies, I do have wife in real estate. Like she's now like slowing down, but I did you were talking about reminded me of two people. It's a Michael E. Gerber's book, E-Myth Revisited, because you were talking of planning business. So you were talking about, and that person is Dean Jackson. Dean Jackson had, and Joe Polish, they had a marketing story. They were talking about the business that has to be boring in order for your life to be exciting. I keep making the mistake of having exciting work and boring life. So that's what stuck with me that you said. Then you said another thing about rejection. The real estate agents, they want a yes, they want to know no second, but maybes are wasting their life, their time. So that's exactly what you mentioned. So with me, it was a connection between regular old-fashioned business, which is real estate, and treating my IT consultancy as that boring business. And your success was just amazing. So where can we learn more from you? Like I missed first half of the call. And how can we like get that business how knowledge? Or the partners who are not going to abuse us. Like my own brother would take the company from me. So I need to find aggressive yet respectful partners
Yeah.
that's going to give me more than 10% of the company.
Yeah. So for now, just digital message me or direct message me, and we'll work out something. It's kind of life is interesting. It's kind of leading me towards building a secondary thing for guys like you to help start a business. I'll probably have more conversation with Mark and Taha about what that looks like because I've never done that before. And so for now, I'm more than happy to help you one-on-one. Let's just send me a DM and I'll give you my email. I'll give you my cell phone as long as you don't blow me up during the day. With phone calls, you can text me all you want. And you know, my desire is to save you guys some of the heartache that I went through and the pain that I went through with you know, I mean, I literally had time early on in my career where my wife came and said, we can't find $40,000. It's gone. We don't know where it is. And that was a big deal then. You know, it's a big deal for anybody, anytime, but especially right then I had to be 25, 26. And here I just lost $40,000 in 1 month without knowing what the heck was happening. So, more than happy to talk to you guys. And I don't really have an answer on how do you learn more from me yet. I guess just stay tuned on the forum. I'll figure that out over the next week or two. I think I'm kind of being forced into doing some YouTube videos, so we'll see how that goes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You made my day, really.
No problem.
My life, because I keep failing.
You know, that's okay. It only takes one time to be successful, but I guarantee you most of the guys that were successful failed a lot. And
real estate line, you only need one buyer.
Yeah. Look, in my first automation company, my average job went from $5,000 to $10,000 to I literally sold a $100 speaker to a guy that referred me to the largest privately held oil company guy in the world. And that dude, this was the first meeting. So I'm 24 at this time. I'm a young punk, arrogant. And I'm sitting there, this guy shows me his blueprints. He goes, how much do you think this will cost? I said, I don't know, $1 million. He goes, all right, you got the job. I said, what? And that was it. I sold the previous guy a rock speaker, wouldn't even let me put it in. He wouldn't pay me more than $100 for it. And so you never know where your big success is going to come from. And that's what launched me. And then I came back to the guy. I made him buy $20,000 worth of speakers the next week because I didn't believe him. And he just stroked the check. And I was like, okay. It wound up being $2.5 million is what he spent. But that was what changed my life. And so for you guys, $100 may lead you to a referral. Always ask for referrals. That's all I did with this guy. Is like, look, I sold you a $100 speaker, refer me to somebody. And he referred me to his friend that was building a house. And it turned into something where I made my first $1 million off of this guy because I sold a $100 rock speaker because I wasn't too good for it.
Insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. By the way, I think, Robert, you didn't just make Daniel's, I think you made all of ours. So thank you
Well,
very
good.
much for doing
No
this.
problem. Thanks for the...
And I say this with complete sincerity, one of the most active members in here. And like a lot of people say, you know, even I'm guilty of this. Yeah, I'll get back to you in the end. I get so busy. Robert will actually get back to you. So please use his expertise and his knowledge. Honestly, be respectful of it. But I'm very grateful that you did this, Robert. And if there's anything that we can help with, forget to myself, that's Robert, Mark, whatever it is. But thanks all for jumping on.
Thank you guys so much. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.